Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
I feel like I'm speaking to everyone who listens and then everyone on screen. I'm so excited to have you, Tara. I'm sad that we don't have Sandra because this is our 50-second episode, which makes us a year old, which makes us a Virgo, which Beyonce.
Okay.
Happy birthday, Beyonce, today. That's you see that jump I made?
Yeah. I'm happy that it's 3T Sunday. We got
Hey.
Tanya and Tracy. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be a pale replacement for Sandra. I have the red lipstick. I'm reporting live from the Champagne Room. It's the hottest club in town. Chase can't even get booked. Curtis don't know them.
This Woo, dropped off a package.
Yeah. That's a Selena Woo's club now.
Yeah, I know we're already talking shop, but basically, Curtis needs to give it up. It's gone. It's not his anymore.
that's the Woo Club now.
Right.
Mhm.
And that's a perfect title too, the Woo Club.
Bam.
I love it.
Bam. How was y'all week?
It was hot.
I can't even do it. I'm like sweating now. I would like to think it was a glow, like a little. It's not. It's sweat. It's hot as hell.
It's been hot. I mean, I got my dissertation topic approved, so I'm very excited about that. Apparently, historians do want to laugh. Who knew?
Mm-hmm.
I'm writing my dissertation on humor and its importance in the Black community and cultivating a Black identity across the diaspora. And I was like really fortunate enough to find a lot of people or find some really great people in the African Studies department who led me to joking relationships, which are really prevalent in West Africa and have been for centuries. And I'm going to argue that's why Black people are so funny. That we're just naturally funny.
Are you able to talk about recent history? Because there's just so much data to mine from just the history of Black Twitter and how
funny every time.
Funny every time.
Yeah, they're actually going to be the source I use to talk about just regular Black people outside of just comedians.
Yeah.
So, I am going to take it to history of the present. But I really wanted to connect it, Black culture, back to Africa. There's this idea that once slavery happened, there was just a big wall that happened between the Americas and Africa, and everything that Black people do is somehow an inheritance of Europe. And so I say no to that. I say no.
Yeah, I rebuke that in the name of being Sunday.
And it's not to say definitely, and it's not to say that Europe isn't important, but that that Africa is equally, if not way more important for Black people, and that Africa has influenced a lot of non-Black people in the Americas, that this is something we should be talking about equally with European history, not something that a student should have to search for and take on their own leisure because it's not actually a requirement for any, not even to be a history major is it required that you take African history. You can get away from it.
Well, look at us. Look, this is how we start the show on 3T Sunday with a little bit of history.
Right? Yeah.
Tanya?
If you go into the idea that it's only whites that founded this country and that are important to this country, then of course you're going to think, okay, we should learn European history. But Black people built this country. And so our history should be just as important, and African history should be just as elevated as European history. And so I am looking forward to your dissertation. Not that I read dissertations all the time, but I would read it.
Thank you. Hopefully it's funny. That's what my advisor said it has to be. If you're doing a dissertation about humor, it has to be funny.
Well, I'm not worried at all that you will be funny. I'm not worried at all. One of my favorite, every time there's a viral video that happens or a viral moment, the fact that you're able on Twitter to like change it into a GH thing every time kills me. Look, I said it was a prompt. You know, sometimes those prompts go viral. It's like, what's a funny, like, what's the best reality show moment? And it was like from some show that people do like towing. I don't even know what the show is. And Tar turns it into like the history of carjacks and Nell because Nell's coming back. It was amazing.
The woman got hit off of a parking structure and then came back and lived and like busted out a window. It was crazy. That's Nell's story. She's gonna bust in Carly's house. And I like Carly, but I'm ready for it.
You know, I like Carly, but I like the people I like to be in peril. So that's just me. Y'all ready to get into this recap? We have so much to talk about because we also have like fall previews, and I'm really excited to dig in with y'all. So can we do this?
Mm-hmm. Let's do it.
So I have like just a brief overview. If you want to see more, like go to Soap Central because that's usually where I go through to read like the recaps. Shout out to them. Shout out to Dan. But I'm gonna start with another Am I the Asshole? I'm a drifter. I go from town to town working odd jobs, and that's pretty much how I make my living. I met this woman. Let's just say our meet cute made a splash. And I've been asking her out ever since. I like to banter, poke fun of women, you know, put us on equal footing since I'm mostly jobless. This particular woman has a crime bosses for a dad and a brother. She might even have some extra money laying around because she's a doctor. Wink, wink. We have been on 1.5 dates, and she doesn't want to open up to me about her complicated family history. Am I the asshole for continuing to ask about it? And when she complains, silencing her with a kiss?
Yeah.
All the salt.
Sorry.
So that's this week in Cody and Britt.
Just like to point out that forced kisses aren't cute. They're called assault.
That's on period. So let's see. Okay, we start the week with Josh finding Ava bleeding out by the cute boathouse. She tries to stop the bleeding, and when Ava passes out, Dex shows up. We apparently find out Dex is medically trained by the military. Hashtag no Owen Hunt. They decide they cannot wait for an ambulance and take Ava to GH and Dex's SUV. Here's some boom, boom, booms. So before the partygoers find out about Ava, we get scenes with Anna and Sunny. Anna asking Sunny for info on Victor, and Anna encouraging Sunny to follow his heart with Nina. We also get Nina and Valentine scenes where Nina talks about how her and Sunny are being received by the town, and Valentine gives an update on his relationship with various Quartermains. Ben and Spencer share a scene where they talk about their fathers, and Victor interrupts to stop Spencer from telling Finn about Esme and Nicholas. This is how I know Spencer is my kid, because he was like, what would it look like for me if I told people that my dad slept with Esme? We don't like being embarrassed in public. Let's see. Oh, speaking of Nicholas, he finds Elizabeth with a cut on her forehead, and she admits that she doesn't know how she got it. And she also doesn't know how she got there, so she's losing time again. Britt once again brings up Jason, which put us all out of our suffering, and Cody kisses her twice. Yikes. Mac and Felicia wonder if Dominic actually knew she was pregnant with Cody with this very convoluted, rewritten story. Finally, Jordan questions the whole town about Ava. A hungover Spencer fights with Victor, but makes sure that he's there for Trina. That boy literally ran out of the hotel with his shoes barely on. I loved it. Carly and Drew talk about their relationship and don't end up on the same page. Sam and Dante officially move in together into the penthouse. Yay. Ava wakes up and is visited by Sunny and Nina. Nina confirms to her that Avery came by when she was asleep. And Ava confirms to Nina that Nicholas cheated with Esme. Portia encourages Trina to still have her party, which I thought was weird. Finn and Liz maybe make up, with Liz admitting her flashbacks. Terry encourages Willow to slow down because, you know, she has cancer. Mm-hmm. Chillin are moving towards some sort of plan. I don't know what it is, but they are kissing while doing it. Brando and a lawyer try to push Sasha into a conservatorship. GH decided to ask the brave question, what if Brittany, but yes. If you're listening, it was not brave. I'm very annoyed by it. Vanna is on to one another, and now they are working together to save Charlotte. And that is the overview of our week. What did y'all think? What were your moments? Tell me.
I have two favorite moments. The first one was Michael just showing up at GH to accuse Sunny of stabbing Ava like it's 2014. Loved it because it was so ridiculous. Like he had no reason to believe it was Sunny.
It was so dumb. I loved it.
But just the level of petty, like, so you out here stabbing Ava? Like, what the hell? And then it was earlier in the week, it was Becky pretending that lipstick stain was a cut. Emmy-winning performance. Mm-hmm. The makeup crew should be ashamed, but Becky acted her way through it. She was like, oh, like, even though it did not, I would not be. Did she have the cut by the end of the week? Was it still there? Was she healed?
I think so. So.
But yeah, those are
my. Why didn't you cover that up? Wear a bandage.
Hey, she's supposed to be a nurse.
Look, is this sanitary?
Jordan was like, we don't have time for that. I gotta ask these questions.
Give my girl some Neosporin and cover that shit up. What are we doing? Well, coming as no surprise to no one, my favorite moment was the Sprina moment. When, I mean, like I said, you know, Spencer was doing a lot and he was doing some Cassadine things, which I'll talk about later. But the moment he heard Trina's name, he was like, oh, gotta go. Like, barely had his shoes on, ran out the door. Loved that. And then, like, one of the things I had been missing from, like, Sprina 2.0 had been, like, very tender moments. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that they have a lot of heat. And it's, like, very clear that chemistry is fire. But what brought me into Sprina was, like, a lot of tenderness and care between them. And the tenderness and care is what made them work despite Spencer having a girlfriend. Because if they would have just had heated chemistry, I don't think that we would have been as bought into the story, or I wouldn't have been as bought into the story. So to see that, like, sweetness and that softness return between them, literal swooning. When she, like, touched his arm and was like, well, she was like, are you here for me? He was like, always. You know, I got really deep into my Hunger Game feels, my, like, Peter Katniss always feels. Loved it. And then when she, like, rubbed his arm, I'm like, here's the thing about Tatiana and Nicholas. They know we get so little and they are so committed to giving the audience something to talk about. Mm-hmm. Because we were able to really, like, get into it with them. And it was such a short moment. And then she rubbed his arm and he took her hand. And you had that minute, because we haven't had, the last time they held hands was when she was, like, mad, when Trina was, like, mad at Portia and Kelly's. Like, we don't get, like, physical, even comfort between those two characters.
It was a year ago.
Yeah. And so seeing that and then, like, him, like, taking his hand away, I was like, oh, Spencer, you're suffering. It's not the suffering I wanted. I don't love this. But, like, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed them, like, just sitting next to each other, eating their snacks. There was, like, a part that was, I think, cut off. I was like, why did they cut this off? It was when Ava woke up and, like, Trina came back out into the hallway to tell everybody. And they brought the camera back and it was like Sprina kind of jumped apart, but we didn't get to see them, like, interact with each other. And I wish that we would have gotten that moment of seeing, like, the physical interaction and then the jump apart, but I'll take it. Just like I would have loved if they would have like been sharing some chips before she came up, you know? But like even that moment was like, oh yeah, normal couple Sprina era is like on the horizon where they can just like be doing mundane things that look very cute, like sharing chips. So that was like one of the big things for me. And then the cousin moment with Cam and Spencer. Spencer's been so alone. First, I mean, like his family, whew. And he's been alienating Josh and Trina. Um, and so he's only had Cam for like for so long. And so to see Cam like give him that like affection of family was like really important. And so when he's like, I'll see you in 3 months, Cam was like, I'm visiting you. Like, what do you mean? It was just so sweet. I like the Cam and Spencer relationship is really shaped up to being one of my favorites. It very much mirrors like Nicholas and Lucky. And I actually wish that we talked about Nicholas and Lucky so that we were able to like make those comparisons.
They're both trash garbage fire, according to Chris and Dan.
Woof. Yeah.
Who, Nicholas and Lucky or Cam and Spence?
Nicholas and Lucky.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they got Lucky being a deadbeat dad. Nicholas is just Nicholas at this point.
Yeah, Nicholas.
That's gonna be an imposter. I'm fine. Just do it. Give me say he's an imposter and let's move on because it's too much.
I'm still hoping for Helena to come back and switch the bodies. That's all that. That's all that.
Finish the end of the video. At the end of the video, she says it's not really Nicholas. Laura,
that's right. I would love that. I would love
that. Right.
Plug it back in.
He was like, "It's not great." He was into it. Anyway, Tanya, your favorite moments and your performer of the week. Tell us.
Well, the moments that you guys shared were also faves of mine. I mean, is there a Cam and Spence hashtag? Because there needs to be one. Because that is a great relationship.
Are they spam?
Spam? Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay. But I love the relationship that they have. I love how, Spencer was like, "You're coming to visit me?" He's like, "Yeah, because you're my friend. Not just because you're my cousin, but because you're my friend." And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. Also definitely appreciate, all the Sprina scenes, the little moments that are just so sweet, always. It reminds me of in Princess Bride, and he's all, "As you wish." I think that's gonna be their phrase. It's gonna be always. I love it. And all of there's lots of great scenes this week. I think some of my favorites though, and particularly when it comes to performances for me, and we have to give it up to Vanna, James Patrick Stewart and Finola Hughes this week were great. And a week where you're not really expecting to see a lot of great performances. I think the way it was shaped out, it was definitely awesome for awesome for all of us to be able to witness Vanna at their strongest. For me, I think JPS's best performance was actually kind of, I guess, last season when Vanna was outside the Quartermain's house and he breaks down about the loss of Bailey. It was so moving. I was crying so hard at that scene. And so to me, I love it when Anna comforts him when he is his most vulnerable. And so this episode where he admits that Victor is the one that's blackmailing him, I was all in my feels. I was like, yes, Anna's gonna come and rescue her man. It's gonna be great. Rescue his daughter and then destroy Victor. I'm so ready for that. And so definitely wouldn't give it up to James Patrick Stewart and Finola Hughes for performances, but you know how it is. We always give love to Nicholas Chavez, and he also did not disappoint. One of my other favorite scenes was drunk Spencer. I mean, like, especially when he was on the couch talking to Valentine, you're like, this is all your fault. I was just like, yes, I love him being drunk. well, yeah, we don't want to see him suffer, but we love to see him suffer because he's so good at it. The dream sequence with Esme was, I actually missed Esme because I forgot how cruel and mean she could be. And I was just like, why are you being so mean to him? Just, she was like, hey, you ain't got nobody. And I was like, oh, that's so true.
She was
But
like, you're a virgin who can't drive.
a virgin who can't drive. I was like, oh.
It just abusive relationship.
Right. I don't know. I wouldn't know if I could win against her in a ribbon battle because she would go hard. She would go for the jugular. So, but you know, he shined throughout all the scenes. I mean, Nicholas was drunk, he had dreams, he had drama, and he had Sprina, and it was just all awesome. But you know, we have to recognize other people sometimes. So, but he's great, and you know, I just love it. I love every part of it.
Mm-hmm. You know, and his birthday's coming up. It's Virgo season, so he's, you know, peak performances are happening from him on
Right.
screen. Yeah, there's nothing more to say, but I think between JPS and Nicholas Chavez, these are like two who I think would probably for the Emmys put in for supporting actors, but it's because of like how you submit, not because of talent, because they're both so talented. Yeah.
Yeah, I think JPS should go for lead, and you know, Nicholas could too, in my eyes. But you know, have to give it to the OGs.
Yeah, they're lucky they changed that age requirement. Otherwise, Nicholas would just be like sweeping the younger category, which is what Jonathan Jackson did.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Tara, because you're our guest, tell us what's working on the show for you.
You know what? Umbrella storytelling is working. I know we've been talking about this in a few spaces about like who should or shouldn't have been stabbed. I think that Ava was a good choice just because she's now become the heart of this show. She's the one person that brings everyone to the storyline, you know, because like she's a Cassadine, she's has a baby with Sunny. Trina is her closest confidant. I guess we have Nina over there. Like she's the one who now brings people to the club. She's no longer, you know, the drama. She's like people are like, "Oh no, what's happening?" And so I like that the past 2 weeks, like it started with the Quartermain, what do you call it? It started with Hey Leo. Then I thought we were shifting it. We still might be in I Know You Called My Sister, Elizabeth Weber's slasher film. But I still want it to be Elizabeth. But you know, I like that for the past 2 weeks we've seen a majority of the cast together in the same storyline, in different positions of it, but like still there. Like that is very much working for me. Because even if you're like not necessarily happy with where your fave is or what they're doing, at least you're seeing them. At least they're there, and there's a reason for them to be there. And besides that, it's Sprina, because they're finally giving us Sprina moments, but like they're in the umbrella story, you know, they're in there with like their own personal feelings, and like we finally get Spencer putting aside his pettiness for Trina. Cause like I really loved when he was like, I don't fucking care about Ava. I care that you care about Ava. So I guess we care about Ava. Like, you know, like that. What else can you ask for a character like that, you know? And so umbrella storytelling, Chris and Dan, if you're listening, really really works. Continue that, unless it revolves around Stable Baby, then throw it away with both hands.
I want to continue to gush about Sprina for a second, and I want to talk about it in relationship to Vanna. So like two big moments that happened that were like big on social media, but were like very short moments on screen, were the arm rub and the hand rub from Sprina, and then the leg rub from Vanna. And so like the Sprina scene was really about like connection and tenderness. And it was about like this connection that Trina can't break, that no matter what happened, no matter how mad she's been at Spencer, if he needs something, she's coming. Like my girl's down bad, and I get it, right? Because Spencer obviously is down equally as bad, which is like my favorite trope, probably more. um, but the Vanna thing was like sensual and it was sexy and it was mysterious. And both of these things are happening at the same time. And I think that it's really important to show that these Cassadine men who subvert like gender tropes are like in the most popular pairings and would-be pairings.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's really important to hear the dialogue from Spencer that he tried to save Trina and he didn't. And it's really important that we all knew that the eventual next step of the Vanna story was that Anna was going to come save Valentine and Charlotte. Like nobody thinks that like Anna is the white knight. And that is why I think that this character has spoken to so many of us for so long, that she is not your damsel in distress. The men she's with are the damsel in distress, right? And so I think that showing those parallels, especially when there are so many like really awful tropes happening outside of them, the conservatorship and whatever is happening with Britt and Cody, and even like Drew and Carly this week, I wasn't really feeling some of this. Like I was like, she told you no, bro, and gave you really great excuse, like really great like explanation, and you acted like she didn't say anything. So like all of this like toxicity is happening outside of them, but their relationships with Trina and Anna are very protected because they as characters themselves are so complicated that they do everything that they can to insulate their relationships with who they love from that toxicity. And so I think that's really important, and that's what really works for me about Cassadine Men in Love. And I think there's also, there's gonna be more people, and this is why I think that the fact that the triangle is so bad and it turned out so bad poorly, like matters. I said this in one of the spaces because I was watching Dirty Dancing. I was like, when I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong. And so I was like really excited for this prospect of a triangle for Trina, specifically because what I love about Sprina is I love both of the characters. Like I love Spencer and I love Trina, and Spencer is already cemented as like a legacy character. People loved him as a child, people love him now. And Trina is entering her heroine era. And so I really love that part of her story would have been a love triangle. And there were going to be people who liked the other side of the triangle because Spencer is complicated. And everything that Trina has done has shown her, like she is Robin Scorpio. You know what I'm saying? Like she is the person that you root for because she is so good. And so there are going to be people who don't want her with someone complicated. They want her to be like with someone, for better lack of better word, boring, because you know what I mean, because you want good things for her and not like this kind of pain that Spencer has brought her. But I love Trina as a heroine, and so I know that like having her with a complicated character pushes her forward and pushes her in like even further into that light. So anyway, I think that as we see Spencer become more Cassadine, because he was like very cavalier about maybe somebody murdering Ava, like he was very cavalier about somebody slicing up his daddy, like like that Cassadine side was coming out like very very strong until somebody mentioned Sprina or mentioned Trina, and he was like, oh no 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 no, let me go make sure the person that she cares about is okay. And so I think that if the other side of that triangle would have been compelling, that would have made this like more compelling. in the sense of like having complicated feelings around Sprina, but because the other side is like not, and you know, dude's a snitch, like nobody cares. So that was a long, convoluted way of saying both Sprina and Vanna are working for me. Tanya, what about you?
Well, since we're talking about Trina, one of the things that worked for me was on-site Trina, because she was not here for Nicholas. She knows that she senses that he has done something very bad to both Ava and Spencer. Mm-hmm. And so now Nicholas is the new Curtis for her. And she was grilling. She was like, "Why are you here? What did you do?" Like she was ready to go on front on him, and I loved it. It just brought back memories of her and her hatred of Curtis, and I hope she keeps it up because this man deserves it, definitely. Okay. I loved the Sante scenes. It wasn't like spectacular. It wasn't like, ooh, Sante, but it was cute. It was late Dante understanding Sam, them both being romantic and loving to each other, and I like seeing it. I like Dante. There was also, I liked Bobby visiting with Carly, because I mean, Bobby knows her daughter very well, and I liked seeing her, you know, call Carly out on making excuses versus getting on with her life. I know that she senses that Carly has already done something impulsive and wrong, but didn't really drill her on it, but knows it and is just waiting for it to come out. I love that. And, you know, I loved, you know, Carly just really considering what her mom says, you know, the history and the love between them. It was great to see. It was just great to see Bobby on screen. Love seeing new Michael or new Morgan with coming for Sonny, but also, you know, just trying to be the supportive husband and not really knowing that Willow is keeping this, you know, really deep and complicated secret that's going to really impact both their lives. And so, I mean, new Michael Morgan has great relationship with Tree, and so chemistry, and so it was just great, you know, just see him in the scenes. And so, you know, Frank, you really need to text us and let us tell you how to schedule him and how he can be on screen permanently, because he's a delight and we like him.
You calling Willow Tree is the best thing to come out of Tree J.
Well, I have to give it up. I love that nickname, and so thank you for bringing it to our lives. I appreciate it.
I also really loved the Sante moment, and I think, you know, as an old school Jay Sammer, a recovering Jay Sammer, I would say, like, I think that for me, there are like different versions of Sam's chemistry with relationships. And Sam is like a mom of two. So the like sweet, quiet chemistry she has with Dom like really works for me. It's not the I'm gonna abandon all of my values and morals because I'm trying to like get with you chemistry. It's the I want to settle down and have my family with you chemistry. And I think that we actually really need that. And I think that they do that very, very well. Like when I heard her say, you know, Rocco, say, Danny and Scout are already siblings, like that was like really sweet. And I think that it's easy to take that for granted on a show that we don't really see the kids, and a show that doesn't focus on family enough, to like forget how important the kind of couple that Sante is. I do hope and wish that they get more adventure, because they could be an adventure couple, like working on opposite sides of the law and all of that. But I also do appreciate the moments that we're getting now of like stability and family. So I really enjoyed it, and I don't want Lulu to wake up. I just want to make sure that I like, say that for the record, in case anyone didn't know that Tracy didn't want Lulu to wake up. I would hate for that to be a miscommunication on my behalf. You know,
hated Lante, and like Sam makes Dante palatable, and fucking Johnny Lucara, who's on a different soap now, made Lulu palatable, and so she can stay comatose, and Sante can stay over there, and Sam's pen palace. Fine with that.
That she worked hard to get.
Mm-hmm.
I would also say for the Bobby and Carly scenes, there was something that I really enjoyed. I tweeted about it, I was like, it was the difference, what they talked about was like the difference between looking before you leap and looking for a reason not to leap, which was like such a beautiful distinction. I think that only messy ass Bobby could make for Carly. That like, I wish that we got to see more Bobby, and I really do hope that because I do hope that if we move into like who killed Luke Spencer or why Luke Spencer died or whatever, that we actually do get Bobby incorporated in the story because they were close and all of that. And Bobby is like really important to the show and to the history of the show outside of being Carly's mom. Mm-hmm. And like I loved when she was like, I love those kind of conversations. Bobby was like, because don't forget, I used to be out here. All right. I am Barbara Jean.
Right?
For the streets of Port Charles.
Listen, that's my girl. So I did really enjoy those conversations and yeah, all the things that you said about that.
Hashtag fuck Tony Jones.
Forever.
Ever, never, ever.
Out here blaming other people for his life falling apart. Out of here.
People really be still on the timeline in 2022 talking about Carly is the reason that Tony.
Please. I mean, even though I'll share it just to like make fun of Sunny. I mean, I remember when Tony hopped up on the stage at the nurses' ball and watching it, and I was thinking at the time, like, what the hell does Sunny and Jason being mobsters have to do with you having a shitty life? Like, make the connection make sense. Like, yeah, they're criminals, and
I loved it. That is like actually one of my favorite Tony moments.
Same. It's great. He read the shit out of everyone, and Jason's reaction to it was great because he was damn near laughing at him. He was like, ha, ha, "Look at this bro having a breakdown," and then Robin's like, "Stop it, Tony."
We don't get that anymore.
Oh my God, you sounded just like Robin.
I will say, like, to get into what's not working for me, it's actually that. It's not letting people be villains anymore. Mm-hmm. Everybody don't have to have a reason. Like, we can get them reasons later. And I think that it's like, I think it's really sad for the writing that we don't have more people just embracing, I did that shit. I don't need to know why. I did it because I was petty. I did it because I felt like it. I did it because I wanted to. Is a reason, and it's valid. And I actually want to hear more from y'all, like what y'all think about this. I was like this morning, I was like, I want to hear what y'all think about villains. It's hard for GH to build out long-term villains who are on the show. Partly because I think that like audiences just like look at villains differently now. Like we could not have another Stefano Demira in 2022. We just couldn't. I think part of it is maybe because Sunny's such an anti-hero and so much of GH was built around like the valor of the anti-hero. People like I think talk a lot about a lot of things being forced for certain characters. And I'm like, do y'all remember how much was forced for Jason to constantly be a hero? Like Jason would be nowhere near somewhere, and then he would all of a sudden like show up at the Metro Court and come in and be like with the tech support and also getting the hostage crisis off outfit. Like they would just make up shit for Jason to do.
He will remember his medical training from being Jason Quartermain. He's like, I can do surgery. Like when Drew was him, he could fly a plane. Remember that time he could fly a plane? That was the time I was like when it was when Billy was playing him and like him and Sam flew out that bitch. I was like, since when can Jason Morgan fly a plane? No. Like he has never had that skill.
Look, I've been watching Jason Morgan for like 25 years. Like, I'm
He
really...
could drive. He could ride a motorcycle. That's it.
Mm-mm.
All of a sudden, he was a pilot. I was like a mess.
And like, we've seen you the whole time, bro. We know you ain't ever go to pilot school. You know. And so I think about that even with like Carly and Nina both, and how like it ends up playing out with some of the storyline. Like, I'm glad. I do feel like my girl Carly like has won the breakup, all the things. She's come out on the high, as like on the high road. But I'm like, do I really always want Carly taking the high road?
I think that.
See,
Oh no, you go, Tanya.
I was gonna say, I think for me, my favorite villains who aren't necessarily seen as villains anymore, but they still are kind of unapologetic about their bad behavior would be Ava and Carly, but they're kind of changing Carly a little bit to where she's trying to be a better person. Well, I mean, Ava is not necessarily trying to be a better person. She's okay with the fact that she killed Esme, but she just doesn't want to get caught. I mean, but Esme deserved it, so it was fine. I mean, but Ava is unapologetically not perfect. She owns her, gangsta. I love it. And she's my favorite character really on this show, because she's classy, she's evil, she looks great, she's awesome, and not apologetic about it. And she was always going to be my favorite. The problem that I have a lot with the good people, and I hope they never make Trina like that, is the good people tend to be the biggest hypocrites that I've ever seen. Like Robin, I did not like her at all. And she may have been good back in the day, but she was also self-righteous and a hypocrite. And I didn't like her at all. Yeah, I did not like Elizabeth. Definitely did not like Elizabeth, because she was definitely a hypocrite. I don't like Nina. I mean, Nina's done some bad things, but it's because, she was crazy, and maybe,
Tell me more about how you don't like Nina.
And narcissistic, and she's just like, no. It's not like she's doing evil for evil's sake. She was just like, oh my God, things have to be about me and my life and my trauma, and I just have to do this and because it makes me feel better. No, I don't like her. She's like the biggest Karen I've ever seen in my life, and I don't like it. So she's not my favorite person. But Ava and Carly are different, and I love that about them. But there seems like they're trying to take Carly's edge away from her, and I don't like that direction. So yeah, and you know what? And then even of the guys, like Valentine's my favorite, because he knows he's done some bad things. He's not necessarily trying to change that. He's just trying to be the best dad that he can be. That's it. And they're trying to make him do things in order to do that. And he's not mad, except for maybe trying to kill Laura. He didn't feel that was right, but everything else he'll still be willing to do because he's going to protect his daughter no matter what. So unapologetically, not a great person. Love it. But Sonny and his self-righteous, cannot stand. So yeah, the people who I like are what you call unapologetic villains, but that's what makes them interesting and great.
I think with Carly,
I love a Tanya rant. Ooh.
I think with Carly though, they shifted her back to a little bit of unapologetic once Nina took the Metro Court, because now every time she flashes back when she's in a scene with Nina, it's like, ha ha ha, you have my hotel, I have your daughter, suck it, bitch.
Yes.
So I, as her fan, I like that, right? Because girl, if she takes our husband in our hotel, then we take her damn stupid daughter that she don't even like.
Right.
Love that for us. I think the issue with like Sona at this moment versus like Sprina. One of the best things that's really working for Spencer at this moment is that he, just what Tracy was saying before, that he's finally had a chance to step back and realize that he was not the good guy in this. Like, you came capping for Esme, and so you were with her even with she was doing all this stuff to Trina. Like, were you a part of that planning process? No. Would you have approved of it? No, but you capped for her the entire time she was in Port Charles. She was your girlfriend. You were staying with her. You had her in your grandmother's house and your father's house. You left with her. And so like that whole, like, I tried to save Trina and I couldn't. it was this realization that like I was never the good guy in this storyline. I can be the good guy in this new storyline with Trina, but in that other one, I wasn't. Sunny and Nina have never taken, they're still the heroes of their own fucking story. And that's the issue. It's like you don't realize that once all these other people got involved, y'all became the villains. And there's no self-recognition about that. Like you have, and then you have like, and I'm not even talking about, you have it with Sunny and Nina, but it's with Chris and Dan. Because Chris and Dan refuse to acknowledge that Sunny and Nina did anything wrong. Like, at least when it comes to those characters, you have like Anna Devane telling Sunny how loyal he is and how like Spencer should mirror this loyalty. I'm like, he's done nothing for Spencer this entire time, specifically turned his back on him over a bear, and then forgave Nina.
And you know Avery liked the bear.
But forgave Nina for keeping him from his family for 6 months. That's not a loyal move. Like, that's not loyalty. Even if Anna Devane says it is. And like, it's fine if you want to make a comparison between Victor and Sunny. Like, if I had to choose which uncle to put Spencer with, I'd choose Sunny as Anna Devane. Yeah, that makes sense. But not this whole like, well, you're so loyal. And then like later on in the week, you have Ava and Nina in a scene together, and Ava's telling Nina how Nicholas cheated on her, and Nina's looking all shook and shocked. I'm like, girl, are you not a homewrecker? Like a reason?
I mean, and as much as I love Ava, are we talking about affairs with young people?
Yeah.
Because Morgan called and Griffin called.
Right.
And so it's just like the lack of self-awareness. And I would have liked for Nina, and I think a lot of her stands would have liked, if you've been watching that character since she came on in 2013, she has always been the wife that of a husband who had another woman, or a man who had another woman. Like every character she's ever been with has either physically or emotionally cheated on her. So Silas with Ava, and then he was with Sam, couldn't shake her. Then you have, she gets next with Rick, who's sleeping with her mother and trying to have her committed. Then you have Franco, who starts an emotional affair with Elizabeth. Then you have Valentine, who's having an emotional affair with Anna that's completely one-sided, but it's still there. Like, and now she's with Sunny. You could have written this where she's like, you know what? I've been that girl that's just been tossed aside my entire life. I'm the other woman and I don't care. I don't care. I'm taking him. He's mine. And people would have been like, yeah, girl, get it. We stand you, Cynthia. We love it. Instead, they want her to feel some type of way about this when she's in scenes with certain characters, right? Everyone but Carly and Michael. Everyone with Carly and Michael. With Carly and Michael, she did what she did. She has no apologies for it. But everyone else, she's like, I'm a good person. I don't understand. Like, I made mistakes. And it's like, no, just own it. But they can't do that without Sunny looking like a fool, essentially, who has agreed to throw his whole fucking life away for a woman who bamboozled him and his whole family. And so they can't tell that story, right? Because Maurice Bernard slips in and he's like, Sonny would never. It's like, okay, he would never actually be with this character unless you want to tell the story right. Like, there's ways to get Sona to get, because the chemistry's there, right? Like, I'm not going to say that Maurice and Cynthia don't have chemistry, but like the logic that got them from being damn near strangers to now throwing everything away for each other didn't logic for a lot of people. It just didn't.
I mean, were they strangers, or did she steal his child? Because when I saw her with holding Avery's hand, I said,
yeah,
oh, okay, we doing this. All right. And that's the thing that's really like another thing that's really not working for me is like pretending as history started recently.
mm-hmm.
So like we get this with like the Dominique story. That doesn't even make sense. Mm-hmm. So you're just assuming because like you could just do egregious rewrites because people weren't watching back then. That actually doesn't work because a lot of people were. And then I think and not to belabor, because I know we talk about them every week, but I do want to get this point in about Sona. I think that having Mo be like the anti-hero that everyone fucks with is part of the problem. That like they have to get beloved characters to like constantly prop him. So like prop Sunny, because Sunny can't just be like people can't just have heat for Sunny. The fact that like Scott is like, well, whatever. No, Scott and Sunny fucking hate each other. He shouldn't be like, well, whatever. He should actually be telling Nina every chance he gets that he's too good. Like, like she's too good for him or whatever it is. And so I think that what they're trying to do with like little jabs, like Leo saying shit like, my mom said you stole in Carly's hotel or whatever, is like trying to do little mini redemptions. And I think that for the character of Nina and like for what is good for the show, that actually is not enough. Because people like me are like, that's nothing. And people who actually support that character are like, oh, everybody is mad at her. Like it's like a poor Nina, like whatever. And for people like me, it's like, oh no, this old girl came back from Nixon Falls after getting Phyllis's bar burnt down to get dressed up, and she looked amazing. But to get dressed up and go to Savoy and have a drink with Curtis, that's not remorse, baby girl. That's partying. That's kicking it. And so, like people say I stole Carly's hotel. Well, you did buy that shit from up off Carly. Carly was stupid. Nobody's excusing Carly's behavior and her silliness for like what she did with her hotel, but you did buy it. And you did it when you knew everybody around her was rich enough to afford it. And then when Olivia asked to buy it back with interest, you said no. And now it's like, oh, Olivia's a monster for not wanting to be partners with you. Olivia was really clear when she offered you interest that she didn't want to be partners with you. So it's just, and like, if it would have been something that we saw before where Nina and Sunny were talking and she's like, I want to be more than Crimson. I would love to have another business venture. I would love to have another opportunity. And then she bought the Metro Court because she felt like that shit. I think more people would have been like, yeah. The problem is to be like, well, Sunny told me there was going to be backlash. Girl, you ain't know it was going to be backlash before Sunny told you. Like y'all, you're like, they're just like writing her like very juvenile, which is like unfortunate for Cynthia because we know and we have seen that Cynthia can play better than this.
The coma. People don't talk enough about the coma.
Okay, but if I talk about the coma, then I gotta talk about her bullying Aiden. If we talk about the coma, then we get to talk about every other relationship she's been in. Like, you don't get to pick, like, cherry pick like what you talk about. And I think that happens, especially with people, because like I started watching in 2003. So when I started watching, it was Tamara Braun's Carly in the Panic Room. That was my first. So I was like, oh yeah, I stand. I fucked with Carly. I had to go back to understand why people didn't fuck with her. And I was like, oh, I get it. Oh, she was a little bit of a mess. You know what I mean? Now, it doesn't change that I like her. It doesn't change that this is a character I really enjoy. But it was important for me to go back and get the full context of the character when I talk to people about her. And so I think that part of what the writers, part of what the writers are doing with these stories is not giving you the full context of the characters. Redemption doesn't mean that everything that you've done has been erased. So like having conversation, like Ava could have had a self-aware conversation that was like, yeah, it's really fucked up what Nicholas did to me. It feels like karma for what happened with Morgan. Like that's nothing. Like you could have just thrown that in. And I love Ava, so I'm not saying I don't hold her accountable for that anymore, but I'm just saying like there's something to it. So like having some self-awareness from Nina to be like, oh yeah, I cheat, I'm mad at cheating on you, but this also happened. Like you can't actually erase like recent history like we didn't just watch it. Anyway, all my rants. Sorry. Someone else talk about what's not working. I'm so sorry. What's not working, someone else?
Well, I'll just have to say it every week. Nothing about Cody works.
Yep.
No other explanation. That's it.
Yep. Yep. He sucks.
Less Cody, more Hat Daddy. I mean, Hat Daddy's a lot better now that we know his weird, unnecessary backstory that valorizes the FBI. Thank God for the FBI. Like,
Meanwhile, Victor was like
thing
a cab. Victor's in the whole cast of that clear. A cab. Sorry, Hat Daddy.
going into the how Cody's not working. Secret Children on GH is no longer working. Soap Opera Digest pointed out that literally the last year has been full of parental reveals. Like literally, you have Chase being Finn's and not being Finn's, and then you have Austin being Jimmy Lee Holtz. You have Valentine being Victor's. You have Esme being Ryan's. You have Trina being Curtis. It's too much. Like, and then when you get on top of it, everyone else on the cast is a secret child. Because like I was thinking about Sante. Now, this is just because of Hey Leo, they brought it up, how close Sante is. But when I was trying to figure out what year Avery was born, I used Sam to get to her because they're cousins. Dante's sister is her cousin because of Ava. And so they have so much in common because she found out that she's not only the secret daughter of Alexis Davis, but also the secret daughter of Julian Jerome, which led to more secrets. And then of course Dante was a secret. We enough with secret kids. We have enough people to give birth to people in Port Charles and know who their parents are. Let's just stop. Or if we're gonna introduce adults, like I didn't need stable baby at all, but like he could have been generic unwanted white man and we would still be just as like we'd probably be a little less mad because you weren't messing with history, but we still wouldn't want him. And so why do it? The other thing I have, and this hurts me the most because she's the queen and it's mostly the writing, it's not her. It's Terry as chief of staff because they cannot decide if Terry, with any character that works at GH, if she is their boss, their friend, or their doctor. Girl, you can't be all three. And it's coming to a head with Willow because Willow's got this cancer baby. And so Willow's like, oh, I'm tired, I'm weak. And now Terry can't decide if she's her friend, her doctor, or her boss. Because I might just send her home. Like, girl, you have cancer, you pregnant, you are now a liability. You can't work at this hospital. Explain it to your husband. Explain it to your fucking husband. It's not me or your boyfriend. But now because like, well, we're not telling Michael, and as your doctor, I don't want to like have to force you to tell someone when you don't want to tell them. I can't fire you because if I fire you, then he's gonna ask why. Like Terry, I need more of Terry, but like somehow less of what you're doing to Terry. Give me Terry and Yuri, right? Give me Terry and Yuri, but don't give me Terry having to deal with all this nonsense with no type of clarification of her actual role because it's not fair for her. Because that whole Willow scene, I was like, girl, fire her. Fire her.
And that would be job discrimination.
I'm like,
Over the
you know, Tara, we can't just be firing her. She's in a union. You're working with Liz.
What I'm saying is that like if you have like a condition that you're no longer like willing to disclose because you're worried about privacy issues, like, and it's going to affect patients because you're not seeking treatment for that, and then on top of that you're pregnant. I feel like a good lawyer in any HR department can make that friggin' termination work. Like,
not you union busting on Sunday shift.
But that's what I mean, though. She can't separate those things, and it sucks. Like, and it kind of sucks for her character. It's almost why I wish they had just either let her be it, the chief, and like be chief and like treat these people like employees. Like when they're in the champagne room behind me, they can be friends, but when they're in GH, they got to be her employees. Or let Britt do it and let Britt be the bridge and be like, bitch, I don't care. Get your life or get a new job. Mm-hmm. And so that's my thing for Terry. I think they don't know what a chief of staff does. And that's the issue. Like they don't know what the chief of staff at a hospital's job function would entitle. And they have all these people who are connected. And so they're like, but they're friends. And it's like, no, she runs a major hospital. She can't really, she shouldn't even be Willow's fucking.
No. No.
Mm.
Tanya, did you have anything that's not working?
No.
Besides Cody? Besides Sable Baby? Just your, and you know what?
Well, I mean, I still don't like Willow not telling the truth, but I think, I mean, we've, beat Tree dead with her own branch, so I just let it go.
Terry and Yuri is working, just taking it back. Because I saw some people like a week and a half ago, like all teary-eyed for Monica. They're like, poor Monica. Like, Monica is not even on this show. Let Terry get hers. Get out of here.
Get out of here.
I was just thinking about Monica. I was like, why isn't Monica on the show?
She has so many men. She is so fine. She is trapped in her memories. She don't need no man.
She don't.
Just trapped in her memories.
Oh my God.
Rick Weber memories.
Not the Rick Webbers. Okay. Let us go to some free for all hot takes. Do y'all have any?
Hot takes.
Yeah, I had an eye roll for Anna caping for Sona. I did not appreciate that. That made me hurl.
Mm-hmm.
If I can screenshot my notes, you will see a hurl. It was not cool. But yeah.
Same for Valentine quoting Lord Byron to Nina. Absolutely not. And then Nina having this idiot moment where she was like, people think it's Shakespeare. Okay, well, there's a cool 200 years between Byron and Shakespeare. So who's making that? They speak in completely different languages.
Kudos to you, because I didn't know either. I'm just like,
but I'm saying it's not Shakespeare. People don't confuse those.
You can understand Lord Byron, and that's how you know it's not Shakespeare, because Shakespeare writes in Middle English, which was the English right before the one that we currently write in, and Lord Byron in the 19th century writes in actual current English. So that's usually how this stupid GH writers.
Why are like making us argue over whether it's
F minus?
I have there's something interesting, not interesting, about the difference in audience reaction from Spencer's smoke for Valentine and Ava versus Joss's smoke for Nina. Because nobody ever has a problem with Spencer going up on them, but I've seen up and down the timeline of grown men saying that Joss needs her ass whooped, of people being like, that bitch needs to be slapped. I'm like, whoo, we got a lot of smoke for Joss for rightfully not fucking with Nina and Sonny.
Right.
Y'all don't want people don't want the teens to be vanilla. They want the teens to be grown now. And this is the part about history, which is that, and I think that this is also the part about like fallout for Sona, is that the fallout was not just about the cheating. Joss had her own relationship with Nina because of Jax, prior to all of this. So the smoke that Joss has for Nina, well earned. And not just about like, you did something mean to my family. No, you violated a trust and a relationship that you built with me. But people don't have that smoke for Spencer. It's funny. Valentine.
Wasn't the marinara sauce caper connected to like Jocelyn trying to help Jack's romance, Nina?
Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing. It's that Jocelyn probably had, good reason to feel that Jax and Nina were going to be together. And then, she let that go for Sonny, who was married to her mom. And so that's like a double whammy of no-nos on Nina's part. And also like that whole diary thing that I guess Nina gave her a journal. And that, that was when she really went in on Nina. It was like, you broke my trust and all that good stuff. So yeah, Joss had her own, she has lots of reasons to hate Nina. And she also had plenty of reason to be side-eyed and Sunny, because Jack's always in her head talking about how dangerous Sunny is, and now she's seeing it firsthand. You know, she has every right to go off on him all the time.
And I think so. I think there's also something about living in a moment versus the lies that you do to maintain a moment, which is why Nina never got enough smoke for me for Nixon Falls. So it was like she was going back and forth to see Wiley while like Sunny was in Nixon Falls and lying about it. And when Jax got like shot or whatever he got, Trina and Josh came up to Nixon Falls, and Nina was doing everything that she could to also make sure. You know what I'm saying? So like it's not just like we went up there and then it was forgotten. It was like this happened and I was purposefully lying to y'all. And like those are the kind of things that are not spoken about, but I think are relevant to the story and why people are mad. But again, Joss like can't have smoke for Nina, but Spencer can always have smoke for Ava and Valentine. I'm just saying that's interesting or not interesting.
It's just one of the issues of character. I mean, that's the thing is like I watch shows with my own subjectivity. So anytime Elizabeth gets read, I'm like, it's 1,000% justified no matter how it happens. I think the show has gotten really lazy in regards to the character of Carly, where they want to utilize her devious past, but then not actually portray the character as devious anymore. And so they have things happen to her with Nell, with Nina, and they kind of ride off of this audience, at least on Twitter, because like I know on the other social media platforms she's a little bit more popular. This idea that whatever happens to Carly, she had it coming. Doesn't matter how it happened or why it's going to happen. Like she has it coming for some shit she did in 1997, right? And that's not gonna fly with a lot of the audience. Like I think it flies with a lot of loud people that are maybe in GH social media accounts, but it's not necessarily gonna fly with everyone. And so when you have like, oh well, Dina thinks that Carly threw Nell off cliff. Okay, fine, that's why she's doing it. But then she needed to continue that. Like even if she was falling in love with Sunny, it always had to be in regards to Carly, and that had to either be out in the open, like people knew about it, or the secret that she was keeping, like deep down, it's more about Carly. But like once again, it goes back to like the character they chose to pair her with. You couldn't do that. You maybe would have been able to pull it off with, I think, Jack. They've had plenty of stories with Jax where he looks like a damn fool. This one, where he did all of this stuff, he blackmailed Michael for Nina. And all of a sudden, Nina's in love with Sunny. Once again, like the third woman would rather be with Sunny than Jax. Like, it's embarrassing. And so, like, the way that they choose to write Sunny, you couldn't write Nina being too devious. And then they were like, well, we'll just ride on Carly being bad. And they're doing that now. So now they're not choosing to have Nina have any personality except whatever this is. And now it's like, well, Carly's keeping a secret. And that's supposed to justify whatever the hell Nina does. That's definitely what they thought would justify Nina taking the Metro Court. Like, well, Carly's keeping her daughter from her. Like, okay, well, she doesn't know that. She doesn't know that. And so you just had her make this move with this like audience justification that like, well, Carly's keeping her daughter. It doesn't work logically for Port Charles. And so I think they just ride too much off of like how people feel about Carly, because if you go on Twitter, it's Carly, Carly, Carly. She trends all the time because people won't shut up about her. Like, for the love of God, if you hate this character and you want to see her less, please stop talking about her. Please. Like the tweet, I'm not gonna say it's too high. 7 out of 10 tweets about Carly are about how she's on too much.
I would have no way of knowing. I have her.
Same,
I have her muted. So I'm just
same.
like,
She's my favorite character, and I have the name muted because I just can't. Just the same when you were saying like people talking about wanting to grown men trying to punch Joss. I was like, ooh, I would have no idea about that.
yeah, even when I dislike a character and I might say whatever, like there's, for me, for me, not about anybody else, but for me, even if it's a fictional character, there's a level of vitriol that I actually still can't take about a woman character. So like if somebody was like Nina needs to be choked out, like I'm like I've seen that and I've actually blocked that person. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a level of like violence against women for me personally. I'm not saying people can't have their fantasies. This is not a judgment, but for me, I don't want to see. And so because of that, like there are just like conversations I don't want to take part in or take place in. And I also think that it's a difference between like not liking someone for existing or like for like normal soap shit versus like if I see somebody saying some crazy shit about Esme, I'm like, well, fuck her. As long as it's not about Avery, I'm fine. But for the most part, like a Liz, a Carly, a Sam, Nina, they are all like existing within a soap world. And so like extreme vitriol towards them is just not something I'm trying to see.
I use a lot of hyperbole, but it's usually in like very unrealistic ways. Like I'll say like I want them thrown into the fires of Mordor. Like there is no Mordor. Like so I can't actually make that happen. But yeah, I think language matters. And then but it's always gonna be the argument, like, well, this is a soap, they're fictional characters. And it's like, and I'm with you being the female characters, because I'll always advocate for men to be murdered. I don't care about that.
Sure. And again, this is about personal preference. Like I have it muted, so I wouldn't, I don't see that conversation. It's just not for me.
One final hot take. I really am super duper sad that we have to watch the sequel to For Her Own Good, The Haunted Widow's Tale of Elizabeth Weber. It's called For Her Own Good 2, Still Haunted, with Hamilton Finn telling her how and now she's now agreeing that she's haunted. She's like, and I'm like,
and he's a vampire.
It's just so sad. Like Chris and Dare really said this was a story we tell him. Deal with it.
Ugh, it's bad.
Yeah, you should have had given her more agency, but you know what? You were right. That's what Chris and Dan said.
It's just not good. It's not good. Yeah, when he was like, I left 5 messages for you, and it was all I could take not to come over. I was like, are we hearing this? Is this like what?
He had dumped you at the time. Yeah. So you shouldn't be calling her.
And the only thing that stopped you for coming to my house after I told you I didn't want to be around you was leaving me several messages. Do not like nobody understood how that sounded. That's not romantic.
She can't make her own choices. She's haunted and mad.
Okay. Can I say something else about Finn though?
She makes his daughter sad.
That was I can't even deal with that. Because Violet be living her best life, except for her, I'm sure her shoulders are tired from propping up these men. But every time I see her, she got on headphones, she got snacks. Violet's good. She ain't thinking about Elizabeth. I was imagining she's more concerned about her missing mama that y'all don't worry about. But what I was gonna say about Finn was I did not like his conversation with Spencer. First of all, I was like, get away from my child, you vampire. That was the first thing. But the second thing was Finn's relationship with Gregory is nothing like Spencer's relationship with Nicholas. Matter of fact, Finn slept with Jackie and then was an asshole to Chase. Like
he's not a good father. Well, I guess he's a good father for Violet, even though Granddad is here. But like he's not a good son. He has no place to give advice to Cameron.
Spencer.
Sorry.
It's hot. We're delirious. Hot.
Yeah.
He's raising his daughter 3 men in a little lady status. I don't know if he's a good father.
Right. You're right. Definitely. Yeah, because every time she's on screen, it's like, okay, I gotta go now.
Yeah, we ditching her.
Just giving her sugar.
Here, have a sugary sweetened beverage, and I gotta go.
He's out here busy trying to raise Elizabeth Weber. He don't have time for Violet.
Right.
He's a doctor. Every time he says he's a doctor, I'm like, are you her doctor or her boyfriend? I'm confused. He's like, I'm a doctor. I can't just ignore this. Like, you're not her doctor.
Mm.
You're an infectious disease specialist.
Infectious
Disease specialist. Okay. I would have rather had Spencer and Valentine scenes with them like talking about like their complicated relationships with their dads, like way more than I would have preferred Valentina and Finn and Spencer scenes. Like it was just no. It was a no from me, dog.
They're trying to workshop the hell out of Sona and Finn's characters. That's like Westworld, the bots that broke down, they got them in behavior. Like, how do we read it? Because it's not, I've never seen a Michael Easton character so badly received this far into playing him.
And it was like he was mostly well received. I loved Vanna.
So yeah, people hated Silas.
Mm-hmm.
People hated Silas. I know you weren't watching after Jason left, but
I watched clips. I've seen clips. I've seen it. Shout out to YouTubers.
He is so terrible. He does the same thing to Sam because like he comes in and just looks at Danny and was like, "Your baby's dying." Just like the worst way of telling a woman her son's sick. And then he's like, listen to what I have to say. This protocol is going to work because I'm the best. And then when it doesn't work, he's like, I didn't even say it was going to work. Like, I would never say it was going to work. And Sam is like freaking out because she was like, I didn't do anything else because you said it was definitely going to work. And that's how Julian comes on because they decided they have to find out who Sam's dad is. But he was the same way. And people hated Silas. And when they brought on Nina, they were like, no, Silas ain't good enough for you to bring a secret fucking wife in. They could go off together. Like, I was so I don't even remember what their ship name was. Siam, I think. I hated it. I was like, no. Give me McBain back if I have to have Michael fucking Easton.
Right. Mm-mm.
And so they had Madeline stick a knife in his back, which was
I didn't watch it. I enjoyed it. I have another thing that was interesting from Soap Opera Digest. So last week, the way they wrote up the Spencer being drunk thing, did anybody else think that he was gonna think for a second he stabbed Ava? Did I miss that? It was like a blinking you miss it thing? Because the way it was like he has a moment of doubt or something. Like that's the way Nicholas Chavez talked about it. So I was really surprised that we didn't see that.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily. Maybe they cut those scenes. I don't know.
Maybe. Or maybe they did that interview before he filmed the rest. Since we see the better Michael showing up. Mm-hmm. So they may have filmed those scenes like weeks ago, talked to him, knew they couldn't drop that interview, had an embargo on it until this issue of Soap Opera Digest. And that's what got in there. Because I think that like they obviously shoot out of order. So he probably was like, did I murder? Victor's accusing me. Did I do it? And then like the next time they actually got back to those scenes, they were on a different set 3 weeks later. And he was given that interview and turns out he was 100% sure he didn't. But like, it also proves that like, I was very surprised at how harsh Soap Opera Digest was on the stable baby story. I was like, damn.
Yeah, they would end.
And I don't know if you noticed, but GH is the only one that won't tell them what's going to happen on Fridays. Mm-hmm. And so GH does not give them enough for them to sort of like kiss their ass as much as they do Young and the Restless or those other. That's what I'm starting to think when it comes to the soap press, that like Frank is being real tight-lipped for whatever his own reasons, but also because like the writers have no idea what they're doing. They don't know how any of these stories end. I'm pretty sure like Ron starts a crazy fucking story. He might drag it because, you know, Corday tells him to drag it. You know, he's like, this is where you could tell they dragged the hell out of that possession storyline. That shit was supposed to end before 2021 was up. But like Ron knew how it was gonna end.
Right.
He knew how it was gonna end. I never ever believe that Chris and Dan know how any story on GH is gonna end.
No, they don't. I would also say because it's not only that they don't give them Fridays, they usually not give them anything, because it would be like nothing's available at time for print. But yeah, I was surprised. I think they do a good job of like praising actors. They did post like a really weird like anti Spencer like letter that had like some like false things in it, like just like wrong storyline things. But that letter still praised Nicolas Chavez as being a good actor. So what I found is like Soap Opera Digest seems to really like GH actors, but the storylines are just, woo, they're not fans.
That's why nobody was happy when they won Best Drama at the Daytime Emmys. Like literally nobody, the GH fans weren't happy because it just makes it reinforces what Frank's doing is correct. The other soaps weren't happy. I know that the Days fans weren't happy because they really thought Beyonce Salem should have won, and it probably should have. I didn't even see it, but I've heard enough about it.
It should have. It was good. I liked it.
And so
I liked season 1 better than season. I liked season 2 of Beyonce Salem because it gave us so much Bo and Hope, and like that, you know, since I was a kid, I've loved them. But it was also a lot of Steve Burton. It was just, I don't know. Season 1 was like, also season 1 also had the Black people in it. You know, it was just better. Anyway.
So, unless there's more hot takes, Tracy, any kind of previews you want to share with us?
I do. I was looking to see if I had hot takes, but it's cool because they're all in the previews. So I'm gonna do what Sandra usually does, which is give us the week ahead. I do not have any fun groupings the way Sandra does sometimes. So I'm just gonna give you day by day. And then Soap Opera Digest gave us like couple and pairings of fall previews. And so I'll go through them and we can respond to them. So we know from Soap Opera Digest that Spencer writes Trina a love letter explaining his feelings to her. We also know he won't give it to her directly, but she will find it. I am a huge fan of this love letter situation. Just want to put that out there.
I was reading that section and everything stopped when they said she finds the letter. Like that was it for me. I was like, okay, she finds the letter. She's gonna know. This is gonna be great.
And I just love dramatic ass Spencer being like, I really wish he would have had like some parchment paper and a quill and like wrote it with like an ink pot. You know what I'm saying? But we'll take a Metro Court ballpoint pen. It's fine. We'll take it.
I know. I just know I'm gonna suffer when she tells him, I don't even want to be friends with you. I can just see his long lashes hit his cheeks and I'm just gonna cry.
It's not enough.
I know I'm gonna be destroyed during the Nicolas Chavez voiceover of the letter, where he's just reading it while Trina reads it, you know, and gotta get the Nicolas Chavez voiceover of her reading. Like, and he's in prison, and you know it's gonna have like a song montage behind it, and it's gonna have like the prison doors closing on him.
Oh my god!
Why would you say this? I wasn't ready.
I don't want to see him going to jail.
Everybody wants it.
Oh god!
The non-copyright sad song they're gonna play over it, and none of us have ever heard of.
Oh god! So we also know that Chloe Lanier is coming back for a short stint as Nell, and y'all know I love Nell's crazy ass. I'm so excited.
Hope she runs off another cliff.
So Monday, great news that tomorrow, Monday, we will have a episode because normally we don't have one on Labor Day. So Curtis and Portia throw Trina a party. Sasha receives bad news. Chase calls Brooklyn out for going too far. Who knows? Tuesday, Taggart refuses the offer of Sunny. Cameron plans to surprise Jocelyn. Yikes. Wednesday, Dante and Sam have much to celebrate. I hope it's in the shower. That's not in there. Anyway, Felicia shares her theory. Thursday, Victor and Sunny clash. Maxie demands answers from Britt. Rory asks Jordan for advice. Maybe it's advice on how to transfer and stop being such a fucking snitch. Friday, Stella delivers surprising news. Ned has reservations about Brooklyn's relationship with Chase. What reservations could those be? Because Chase is a fucking choir boy. Who knows?
Wasn't he like super happy about this when the Italian Thunderbolt was going around or some shit? Wasn't he part of the like, yes, this finally went down. Yay. Why is he not got reservations? No, we're past this.
We are way past this, and I know.
Right.
Anyway.
All
right, let's get into fall previews. Ready? So this is from Chris and Dan, offering insight into the months ahead in Port Charles. So I'm going to go through each pairing. Ready? Valentine and Anna. Right now, Anna and Valentine are on the same page, are in our united front, not just in their relationship, but in their determination to save Charlotte and take down Victor once and for all. They are not above using any and all means at their disposal to deal with the threat that Victor embodies. Lucy will continue to play a role in their scheme. As longtime fans know, this is not the first Victor whose fondness for Lucy, this is not the first Victor whose fondness for Lucy she has used against them.
They're talking about Victor Jerome.
That's right.
Oh, okay. Because I was like,
what? Lucy is a fine line to walk and may backfire on them.
Lucy will catch feelings like, oh, I got Mr. Sheffield gave me the look. I want to be the mistress of the manor too.
No, that Liesl suite did look nice.
Mm-hmm. Martin can't even pay his ex-wife.
Alimony. So we shall see. I just hope that there is a bed involved somewhere. Please. Mm-hmm. Robert and Holly. Holly's return will shake up Port Charles and be the beginning of a new quest for answers for Robert.
How to be a better DA?
You bringing back your son? Or Holly's son? Like, what's gonna happen?
I mean, he's off that show, so he's free. That show got canceled.
I think he might have also been an anti-vaxxer.
How is he gonna go home to his native Australia being this way?
Or a Joe Rogan fan? I don't remember. I have to look at his Twitter. It was something problematic. But you know, it's a character, so I would love to see Ethan back. Crazy that Ethan apparently has a relationship with Nicholas. So, but yeah, Holly. I mean, I've never been a Holly fan, so I don't know. What about you, Tanya?
I barely remember her, but yay! Congratulations to the fans of MSN.
All right, and just like that, that is the Sunday Shift opinion on Holly's return. Yeah. Sunny and Nina. Sunny has his hands full with taking Dex under his wing. At the same time, Nina will become suspicious about somebody very close to Sunny, which will put her faith in the uncomfortable position of keeping it to herself or sharing it with the man she loves.
Let me guess, it's Dex.
Sunny walking around like motherfucking TMZ. I'm tired of him. What y'all talking about in the room? Sunny, it was girl talk. Get out the business.
Right.
I'm now laughing. They're giving Nina Michael's storyline from the Dante is an undercover cop. They're giving her, so when Drew Garrett was playing Michael before
Right.
Chad took over, when Dante first came on and he was Dominic and he was like moving up in the Corinthos organization, Michael didn't trust him at all.
I remember. And Morgan loved him.
Mm-hmm. And so like they're constantly giving Nina other people's storylines in Sunny's orbit. Like they're repeating storylines. So like they're making Nina Carly, they're giving her the hotel, they're giving her Sunny. Now they're giving her this Michael storyline where she's unnecessarily in this business. Like I said this in a space. Sunny shouldn't even be in the business anymore. He should be a coffee importer. They should have done that 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
He can still have his connects, but like him being so deep in the mob and now like she's got to be suspicious about mob people. Okay.
I thought the point was that he was different.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And she said she was going to stay out of that business. Because remember, he was warning her. And she's like, I'm not going to ask you any questions. I'm not going to be that person. And now she's all up in the mix.
They can't write him as different because if he was going to leave the mob for anyone, it'd be Brenda.
Right.
And so they can't logically write that story. Like the Sunny and Brenda fans who still exist, they just ship other people now because Brenda's not on the show. And so like the Brenda fans would destroy Prospect Studios. Right. They would have done it if he had left for Carly. They wouldn't have accepted that. They'd been furious.
What? Speaking of Carly and Drew, Carly plans to recharge her career by going on a corporate retreat. I don't know, do they give you hotels at the retreat? Anyway, when the plane makes an emergency landing, she will be forced to confront her past and examine her future. Drew may prove to be a useful ally in Carly's latest adventure, and it may just become more than that as a result.
Drew's using that pilot license again, I see.
Wait, can we talk about this? What memories does Drew have?
Who knows?
Have we ever talked about this? Have they ever told us?
No.
Oh.
He has Jason Morgan's memories. That's it.
So he still has Jason's memories?
Right.
Every time he's like, I used to be a Navy SEAL. I'm like, what does that mean? You don't remember it, so who cares? Like, it doesn't matter.
This corporate retreat. What is going on?
Right. Yeah. Like where's she going? She's going to where?
Antigua.
And he's going to, is he going to?
We're gonna bust out we're busting out the old Sunny's Island set.
All right.
I'm excited.
But my thing is this. What do she need to go to this retreat for? To learn how to get these skills?
That's what white women do to feel powerful again when they've been taken down, when they've been humbled.
They lean in. That's right. You're right. I forgot.
Like, I'm surprised. Like I said, they don't want to just say it because Drew's doing it for free. But like, if this was real life, she'd be getting a life coach. Like, she would be reading all the self-help books.
Oh God. Okay. Elizabeth's past, coming straight from the timeline. Liz has rightfully been advocating for her agency and independence when it comes to her troubling past memories. But once it becomes clear that her missing time is posing a danger to her friends, it is Liz and Liz alone who will make the decision to get answers about this buried family secret. Finn wants to be a supportive partner, but at the same time, he sees Elizabeth making decisions that, from his point of view, seem self-destructive. And what do you do when you come to that conclusion is a question that's really in there. The Liz alone sounds very much from the timeline. Chris and Dan was like, okay, they dragging me. Like, they're dragging us, and we're going to continue to drag them because that sounds stupid too.
Liz alone realizes that she must give all her agency to Hamilton Finn.
That's what it sounds like. The fact that he knows what she's doing, that means he's still involved.
I mean, like, what do you do with very, very grown folks that you think are making self-destructive choices? I don't know. Let them make them. Let them be grown.
And here's like the bigger issue. First of all, my nose itches. Anyway, but here's the bigger issue. I don't understand it was something that you said about Sante that I really appreciated, Tara, in one of the spaces that was held, which is that like Sam and Dante like built a lot of their relationship, like their friendship and their foundation when Dante was still being mind controlled by Liesel in a pen. I guess we don't talk about it. We don't talk about Liesel. But she wasn't trying to date him during that time. They weren't romancing. They weren't trying to bang on a blanket in a barn when that was happening. So if Finn feels this concern for Liz's mental state, the fact that he is trying to date her is a problem. He is constantly manipulating her with her kids, with his love, with all of this shit. And the big problem with the story is the writers keep trying to like figure out how to tinker around the edges and fix it. And there is no fixing it because the story is rotten. And they started doing all of these very creepy things with this character that everybody else understood to be creepy except for the writers in like the stands. It was never cute. It was always triggering. It always felt, even now when they clearly are thinking they're writing it better, they had this man say he called her 5 times after she told him to leave her alone. And the only thing that stopped him from coming to her house was leaving her a bunch of messages. I'm sorry, friends, that's stalking. It's not cute. And so they keep trying to redo this story. And like now I think on the back end, they're gonna try to do some Finn was right to be concerned. Okay, then he shouldn't be trying to date her. Because that's what makes the story so creepy. If you were concerned friend because we share family and your kids have gotten close to me and Violet's gotten close to you, that's a different story. The romantic partnership of it is what makes it so bad.
I mean, it made more sense for Nicholas to be in those scenes with Liz than Finn.
Yeah.
And I don't fucking like Nicholas.
Hate him. Poor Becky had to be in that fucking scene with it was just like,
was that the scene that she was saying that she filmed recently and he was like he didn't know that they had an affair?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was in the doctor's office because he said something like, well, we have a big issue. She's like, let's not bring that up. So, anyway, do y'all have anything else to say about Fizzle?
No.
I want to go back to I know you called my sister.
Stab him. Look, me, I really don't like the violence. You know, it's not good for my spirit. I don't like that violence towards women. Elizabeth, stab him. I'm a hypocrite.
I'm ready for Michael Easton's 17th character. I'm ready for it. So
let's give us a reset. Let's give it a reset.
Bring back John McBain and fuck up Sante.
No.
I would be team Sante. I fucking hate John McBain. Dante didn't break up J-Sam. I mean, not really did Jay McBain, but still that's my canon. But I would still be team Sante. I'm just saying.
I don't want my girl in a damn triangle with 2 cops.
She's still breaking the law. She's still breaking into Dante's phone. She don't care. Now he lives in the pimp palace. He's on her Wi-Fi. I check her emails anytime I want. These are my emails now. These are our emails.
Spinelli hacking it.
If you use my Wi-Fi, please.
Oh wait, if they're calling Spencer and Cam spam, weren't people calling Spinelli and Sam spam?
Who needs Spinelli? Spinelli should have been taken with the cave by Jason. He should have given himself to that cave.
All right. All right. Spixie forever. Anyway, Ava and Nicholas. Esme's disappearance continues to have grave consequences for the people of Port Charles, not the least of which include Ava and Nicholas, who are bound together by their deadly secret. The police work to uncover the motives behind Ava's attack and whether her attacker will strike again.
I would have already accused Nicholas of killing Esme if I was Ava.
Absolutely.
He has all the motives that she does, more because he fucked her.
Yeah. I saw him do it, and I was scared, and I think he might have hooked me.
I mean, it's basically her word against his.
Mm-hmm. And Jordan got all the smoke for the Cassadines. So, because Jordan don't with none of them. Beautiful ass Jordan was like, we're out of here.
Shout out to all the Black women in Port Charles knowing that Nicholas Catherine ain't shit.
Yep.
For all of them. Portia, Trina, Jordan, all of them.
All of them. Yep.
Every Black girl on this podcast knowing. We just really out here. Black women know that Nicholas Catherine ain't shit. Especially this version. Love it for us. Spencer, Trina, and the snitch. Trina has deep feelings for Spencer, but she knows how much pain he inadvertently caused her over the last year. And right now, Spencer is gone to Pentonville. She is happy with Rory. How long can she keep these conflicted emotions bottled up? First of all, my girl is not happy with Rory. Okay, let's dead that right now. All right, if she was happy with Rory, she wouldn't have been rubbing on Spencer's arm. That's not what you do when you're happy.
Or there wouldn't be any conflicting emotions.
Let's not do it, Chris and Dan. Do y'all not know how emotions work?
You should be happy with someone who wears green t-shirts to court.
What is this man gonna wear to the party? Because we saw Spencer get suited and booted.
Yes, and he looked good.
He did.
Somewhere.
So if Rory shows up in a t-shirt and some jeans
with some warm soda, talking about what's up?
You remember when I got you this? Fucking.
You were arrested for internet cyberbullying and porn.
Remember the like probably worst day of your life? Let's commemorate it.
Those are cheesy wedding fucking, not that Rory would ever get married, but those are one of those cheesy wedding speeches where like the worst day of my life became the best day of my life. And I'm like, ooh, this is not gonna last. You don't know how to you compartmentalize too much. This is not gonna last.
It just is not, the triangle is not giving. It's just not giving. It's not giving. I just want Trina to show up to Pentonville singing Monica, you should have known better. That's what I want, okay? Like, I don't want this anymore. I've had enough. Rory got some CO friend, and this has been my thing. If Rory's CO friend fucks with Spencer in prison, nope.
Sonny Corretto's CO friend will fuck with Rory's CO friend. Sonny Corretto's CO friend is Rory's CO friend's boss.
My CO friend is bigger than your CO friend.
My uncle just bought this prison.
I just don't like it. I don't like it. I don't want my kid in prison. I don't like it.
You know, remember when Nicholas was gonna buy the prison and they thought that was the cute look, owning prison?
Yeah.
You remember?
Private prison.
I do remember. Oh, he's so awful.
Ew.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's move on. I can't even. I hate it. Okay, Laura's return. Laura has been away from Port Charles for a while, but that does not mean she is out of the loop. She's a hero, and she'll be called upon to do her heroic best when the time arrives. What a generic spoiler. But what's happening with Laura? What does that even mean? What I imagine is her being like Community in the Darkest Timeline and like Donald Glover walking in with the pizza. Like, what the? That's what I imagine. That's how Port Charles is right now.
I have no idea what's happening with Junie Francis. That's what that told me. No clue when she's coming back.
Right.
No clue what she's doing.
Jeannie's like, I need y'all to write this better before I come back.
She said, I'll be back when I'm back. You'll know.
You'll know when you see me. Sam and Dante are looking forward to the future, but they're dogged by the past, specifically by Dante's recently resumed friendship with his old buddy Cody.
Oh, why did they have to make
you love it? Love it.
Sante is on stable baby prop duty for the foreseeable future, is what that said.
Get him out of here.
We'll have Sam fetching drinks for the foreseeable future while Dante listens to Stable Baby whine.
I don't want to see it.
As you all,
The most.
Britt, Cody, Mac, Felicia.
I never thought
Cody is coming.
together.
Cody is going to be pulled in two directions. One is his developing attraction to Britt, and the other by the possibility that he may be connected to the Scorpio family. And it may be that he can't have both. Felicia is encouraging Mac to learn the truth, but Mac is afraid of getting the answer, lest his heart be broken.
You are a grown man, Mac.
Why can't he be with Britt? And like, stop it. This is stupid. I'm so glad Kelly got out of here. Kelly said, let me go get on my primetime show. I'm out of here. Bye, y'all.
Growing attraction to Britt? Like, do they mean emotionally or spiritually versus physically? Because Kelly Thiebaud is got the juice.
Well, they were saying that she's staying until the end of the year at least. So I'm just like, they're gonna drag this on for longer.
Maybe Britt, maybe her little Huntington's is manifested and now she's a serial killer, like Faison cooking people, and then she'll hook Stable Baby. Hook them right off the show.
Get out of here. Not Huntington showing up as a hook. My God.
Get off the show.
I just don't get it. I don't want this boy to be connected to Mac. Cody could literally disappear tomorrow and I'd be like, sure, it never happened.
I refuse to believe that Josh Kelly is younger than any of us. Because for that to work, for it to be Max, he'd have to be born in like 92.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I refuse.
Oh, no. No.
No.
No. Absolutely not.
Yeah. Like, no.
Ugh, anyway. Michael and Willow. Willow's making a gamble out of love and hoping that she can delay her leukemia treatment and save both herself and her child. TJ has grown to be a trusted confidant with Willow, and their relationship will only grow. Meanwhile, planting Dex in Sunny's organization will have unforeseen consequences for Sunny, but also for Michael's entire family.
He's the triplet. Dex is the Nina triplet. Nina had triplets. He's a triplet. We solved it.
Oh, God. I'm like that Stephen A. Smith thing. We don't care. I'm here to tell you, we don't care.
I just am so irritated.
I hear that TJ has a story of some sort. I don't necessarily want to see him with Tree, but I think I like having him on screen.
It's a catch-22. I listened to Taj's interview on Soap Opera Digest podcast. He's very charming. And so they asked him, he was like very excited that he was like trending on Twitter a couple weeks ago. Because that was like the first time for him. And they asked him about like the Willow thing, and he was like, well, and like he just like talked around it in a very cute and confusing way.
So it's happening.
Yeah, for sure.
I just wish if they're gonna pull things from the headlines, that they did them in a way that was somewhat effective. Because I think the better storyline would have been for her to find out she had cancer, have Michael know that, and then find out she was pregnant, and have her keep that from him, have an abortion because she needed to essentially think about her own life, think about Wiley's life, and be holding that secret from Michael, with TJ knowing it because he was the doctor that helped her through it, rather than this whole like, I want to like risk my own life and risk the mother of 2 children over some bullshit because like Roe is on people, or Dobbs, we got to call it Dobbs now, it's going to take me a second, because Dobbs is on people's minds, and like they want to pull something from the headlines. Like, this is not it. You know, like there's plenty of women in states right now who do not have the options that fictional ass Willow has. And so for them to like play this dumbass story out, it's offensive. for me, I'm not a mother, but it's offensive for all the stories I've been reading about women who now have to go out of state to have life-saving DNCs. So Chris and Dan, go fuck yourself.
Period. That's all I got. Cameron, Josh, Dex. So here's what I love about like all of this is that spoilers make people mad at folks before, like preemptively. So I hadn't watched the show yet the day that they brought Ava in, and I was like saw a little bit of like Josh trending on Twitter, and you would have thought she like jumped on and banged Dex and cheated on Cameron on Monday. I was
On
like,
top of Ava's dead body.
but Ava's dead body. Like it was just like I was like the slut shaming was at an all-time high. Like I was like, God, she hasn't even done anything yet. So we'll see. There's been a growing distance between Jocelyn and Cameron. They are both committed to making their relationship work, but Esme's actions may have made the relationship vulnerable enough for the new guy in town to shake things up. I like Dex and Joss. I didn't think I would. I was like actually actively trying to like hate it because I don't like Dex, but I think they have cute chemistry. I like it.
That's too much backstory for a character that's literally useless. Like they just added a new layer of backstory to him. Now he's a medic in the army. Like, what else are we gonna learn? And I still know nothing about green shirt, soda loving Rory, you know, besides the fact that he thinks green t-shirts are appropriate for court.
He's a snitch.
Right. He doesn't know that graphic novels are a form of art.
Like he's a snitch to the point that if his snitching would have worked, Trina wouldn't have been exonerated.
Right.
Or might not have been exonerated. That's why I don't fuck with him. That's my hard line.
Please give me a reason why he's a snitch. My grandfather was a crook and my dad became a crook, and it turns out I'm a prince of thieves, but I've turned against that life.
Okay, Aladdin.
Something.
Like, all right, Aladdin. Yeah, I am hopeful that I mean I did the Eden and Tabiana Zoom. Eden was like really clear to both her and William are ready for like more adult stories, that they were like really good friends and care for each other, but you know, they're clear that it's just not it. You know what I mean? Like they know. So yeah. Brooklyn and Chase. Brooklyn is willing to go to great lengths to unmask Link as the Nair to do well that she knows him to be, and also to avenge herself for how he manipulated her for years. Chase will find himself as a result, taking a fall, but also having a new opportunity arise as a result.
A near to do well. What else is he? A whippersnapper? Like language.
That's, you know, Britt and Ray are going to be guest hosting in the next couple of weeks, and they are both Chillin fans, so we can talk about Chillin then. I don't have any more to say.
I've been blocked by most of the Chillin fan base.
Oh, have we? Maybe Ray and Britt can get us unblocked, or like they have to send us to like a secret Chillin back channel, because it was like they blocked us because of Sandra, and so I like found out my personal account was blocked. I was like, "Why you say fuck me?" But I did. I was like the 50 Cent meme. You say fuck me for? I didn't do it. Like, and we started rooting for Chillin after that.
All I'm trying to get Chillin to do is have sex.
Same.
You know, I don't even care that Brooklyn didn't pay for her shenanigans last year. It's too late. It wouldn't make sense anymore for her to go back and pay for that Bailey shit now. So
right.
I'm gonna go through a couple more, and then we can go back to them. Alexis and Gregory's professional relationship will continue to evolve, especially as a series of shocking crimes begin to occur in Port Charles. Austin continues to have tension with Maxie's children. Georgie does not seem to like Austin. Maxie is trying to show Georgie how wrong she is about Austin, but as the mystery between Austin and Mason deepens, perhaps Georgie is more insightful than she knows. I am Georgie.
She just got out of a relationship with a psychopath, and
George,
now her child.
George is like, go deal with my daddy. Okay.
Right.
Kind of shit.
Maxie is so hard headed.
Alexis and Gregory pass.
And
Jordan's suspicions about Trina's heritage leads to it really says heritage leads to a heated confrontation with Portia and a warning of a reckoning to come.
It's like Jordan stumbled upon her ancestry DNA results.
I know.
Girl, I didn't know you were 34%.
Like, 23 Curtis wonders if he made the right decision not to get genetic counseling regarding Marshall's medical history.
Why?
so he's probably going to find out, because he even said that the only reason he would need to do that is if he had a kid.
Yep.
So that means he's going to find out soon, or what?
I can see Chris and Dan pulling a stupid fake Finn and Chase and being like, nope, she is Taggart. This was all for naught.
That's what I would love, to be honest.
Unnecessary drama for Portia.
Sasha is faced with a very difficult decision. Does she risk prison time, or does she agree to have Brando as her guardian? However, a twist of fate may make her decision even more complicated.
I heard they're offering Brando.
I heard that as a rumor too.
I heard that like she's gonna agree to this is a rumor, everyone. So like I heard that she's gonna agree to the conservatorship, and then Brando's gonna get off and it's gonna end up in someone else's hands, and that's how they're gonna do the Brittany without Brando being made to look like an asshole. Essentially, they're gonna kill him, they're gonna dead him. Probably make Gladys the asshole, make Gladys Jamie Spears. Which sucks because they just rehabbed her character so well. Like from where she was, like her caring about Sasha was actually good for her character. So to have her, if they went that way, it would be just really bad for her character. She would have to end up with like Elizabeth's hook in her back.
Not Elizabeth's hook. Yikes. I mean, I saw that there was like some discussion of maybe Brando being.
No.
I like Rasha, but
yeah,
it makes sense because we barely see them, and when we don't see them, they're not really missed.
Sophia's the powerhouse in that, and that's a compliment for Johnny Wachter because he can keep up with her. But like, even though, so if you ask me if Sasha Gilmore should be considered a supporting character on this show, the answer is absolutely not. If you ask me if I thought Sophia Madsen could win an Emmy for supporting actress on GH for just every scene she's done in the last year, 100%. I don't care that we only see her once every 6 months. It's Emmy winning every single time.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
So,
I mean, maybe when Tree gets with TJ, then Sasha gets back with Michael.
I would love that. I thought Chad, that's the best chemistry he's ever had besides
ever.
Abby.
It was the best chemistry. It was also the best storyline because he was like kind of like a young playboy. Like he was like, I'm rich, I'm gonna take you on vacations, I'm gonna do like, it was a mistake. It was a mistake to break them up.
I you know what, I'll give Chad one more, and I know this kind of like stings because I know that they used to be together. I liked him in Star. I didn't like him in Kiki when Kristen started playing Kiki, but I liked Michael and Star. They were like soap legacy characters that if you had to cross over, you would put them together.
Yeah, I agree. I like them together.
I liked them together too. Yeah, I didn't like him with Kiki, but I really did like him with Star.
Yeah.
Yeah. Christina. Shocking. She's on here. Alexis has some strong opinions about Christina's future, which will put mother and daughter in conflict. Maybe that's a story for Christina. I would love it. But that probably also then means that she's somewhere propping up Sunny.
Christina is like in her sore ass 30s at this point. Alexis, you gotta let that go. You gotta cut the cord. Leave her alone.
Yeah, I thought she was happy that she had a job and was doing well. Why is Alexa all up in her world again?
I don't know how you feel about Alexis, so just
yeah,
Alexa.
Why do we gotta see her on the screen at all?
All right, I'm gonna do these three together. Spinelli's romantic endeavor may prove to have a greater application, and if discovered, there are many conflicting parties who may want to avail themselves of his breakthrough. That was written just like Spinelli. What the fuck does that say? I'm gonna read it one more time. Spinelli's romantic endeavor may prove to have a greater application, and if discovered, there are many conflicting parties who may want to avail themselves of his breakthrough. Selena, she continues to establish her presence in Port Charles, and the greater her presence, the more potential for conflict with elements on both sides of the law. Beautiful Ash Jordan will be out here in scenes with Selena. And Terry and Yuri's romance will continue to blossom.
I want to see it.
Would love to see it.
I want to see the Wu clan come up.
Same.
Heaven Wu, husband Wu, boyfriend Wu, whatever. I just want to see it.
A they friend Wu for Cameron. You know, all the things.
All of
I
them.
don't understand why they're pretending like Spinelli data mining is some breakthrough. Data mining is not a breakthrough. It's just something that companies do all the time. It's how most people make their money online now.
All the time.
And why is it something that, see, that's what brought Cody into the mix, or is keeping him into the mix, and I never understood that. I just like, that's not worthy of blackmail.
I mean, I guess it's because he's literally like looking at multiple things in like Google searches, and so like he's garnering these matches based off of like super personal information, like breaking the First Amendment, like levels of privacy. Definitely FCC regulations on the web. The web's a really weird space. So like airspace on television, like all of it's owned by the US. And so like people, they rent out airspace. So like ABC rents airspace from the US government. And then you have different tiers of what you can rent. Like HBO essentially pays the fines that the FCC would put on them for showing anything they want. And that's why it's paid television, essentially. Like you pay their fines and they're going to show sex and swear and all that stuff. But like the rules are the rules for the airwaves. Those have never, the internet has never been fully encompassed under the Federal Communications Act of 1934. And I don't know why. Like that's what all the, and I mean, it's right. Net neutrality is important and stuff like that. But
I love that when you're on, we talk about net neutrality. I think that Chris and Dan don't know anything about that. So I think that's part of it. I think that's part of it. I think they've shown that they don't care about any kind of laws, which is why we got Trina's trial, which is why we have all these things. Yeah.
Even dumb people watch their show.
And they don't care.
The majority of the audience is smart.
And can look things up.
Mm-hmm. They've seen all the seasons of Law and Order.
I have not, so I don't fuck with propaganda like that. But yes, I hear you. I sometimes will watch federal propaganda. Shout out to Criminal Minds. But I'm just saying, when we defund the police, what do I want left? I'm not gonna fight a division that might hunt down serial killers. That might be a concession I'm willing to make. I don't know. We don't know. Anyway, so
division can stay.
Don't
tell people I said that.
Anyway. I don't know if you know this. This is public.
I'm just saying, defund all the police everywhere all the time. I'm just saying, if we have to make concessions, I might be willing to, specialize serial killer hunters. I don't know.
Or the SVU unit.
Because SVU, don't get me on my soapbox about how SVU.
Olivia Benson.
Oh, yeah.
SVU is actually the most dangerous of all the propagandas. Because Olivia Benson is basically a social worker, and we don't need cop social workers. Anyway, all of that politics happened in one little swoop. I love that we talked about defunding the police. I love that we talked about like net neutrality. I love that we talked about the FCC. This is what happens when Tara comes through.
All of it.
Look, I have on the t-shirt for my friend who's running for Senate. We out here. It's very political this week.
Who's running for Senate on your
My
t-shirt?
friend Mandela, he's running for Senate in Wisconsin.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. So if you live in Wisconsin, vote for him. I don't know if that's, maybe I can't say that. Let me stop before
we're
you.
not being paid by anybody.
Right, we're definitely not. And
So yeah.
let's just calm down. It's very hot. I can feel myself getting delirious. I'm trying to turn on another fan once we're not recording because it's hot up in here. Do we have any last things before we go?
Well, happy anniversary to us and
Yes.
Sandra.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us, Tara.
Yes.
Sunday in effect. And I hope you guys have a great day.
Yeah, Sunday shifts of Virgo.
It is a Virgo. I think the last thing, thank you guys for having me. Like, it's so great to be, because I think I've only done one because I usually am filling in for Tanya. So it's great to be the three T's.
Yeah.
And just a shout out for GH being good for the past 2 weeks. Like, I know that we've been complaining a lot, but that's, those are little critiques on basically what's been pretty good storytelling for the past 2 weeks.
Agreed.
So keep it up. Dialogue writers, because the Black dialogue female writers, because they're the only ones I'm gonna give credit to, not Chris and Dan. But yeah, keep it up, love it. Portia or Brooke shouted them out about like the Vernice thing. She specifically shouted out the two Black dialogue writers that specifically write for the Ashford family. You could tell.
Oh, and let me just say this. Let me be really clear about this, because I've seen a little bit too much Portia hate from people who stand other characters who have done worse. Portia did what she did, and I stand behind her doing what she did. Period. I am a Portia stan, period.
I don't even like Marcus Taggart. I used to be a Sonny Corinthos stan. Fuck him. He's a dirty cop.
Whatever she did because she had to do.
Oh, they're talking about the idea of Trina being Taggart?
Yeah, I'm like seeing people who stand like.
Maybe if Marcus Taggart wasn't out here being a dirty fucking cop trying to frame Sonny Corinthos, his wife wouldn't have cheated on him. Anyone consider that?
Portia did worse than anything Elizabeth Weber did. Ain't nothing worse than what Carly Corinthos, Jax Corinthos, blah 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 has done.
Harley Benson, Quartermain, Corinthos, Alcazar, Corinthos, Jax, Corinthos.
Bam. Ain't worse than that. Ain't nothing that Portia did worse than what Ava Jerome did. So if you gonna stand them, I don't want to hear anything about what Portia did, because she did it because she had to do it, period. And that's where I stand.
Just like Jordan did what she had to do when she conceived TJ.
That's right.
Sorry, Thomas.
Sorry, Thomas. And you leave beautiful ass Jordan alone. Mm-hmm. And that's it.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Happy birthday to Nicholas Chavez.
Next upcoming birthday to Nicholas Chavez. Oh, yeah, I'll cut that. Happy birthday, Nicholas.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
All right, y'all. See you next week.
Well, not me, but I was great being here.